Welcome to Hidden in the Stack. I'm Otter. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a little utility built into the Toolbox text console called sequence keys. Sequence keys are basically a method that's in the text console to assign a shortcut key to a string. That's the most generic explanation. What's its utility? Well, any time that I have a process, such as, say, debugging simple sharp is going to be my particular example, but there are other places that apply, or I need to validate or want to validate a serial protocol or a simplistic TCP/IP protocol. This gives us a way of dropping in a whole string using a single stroke, see the response, and move forward. In my case, or the first case that I want to use, is that of a development. But before we go diving down there, how do I find them? What do they look like? What are the rules around them? So here we are in Toolbox. I've got my text console open. Haven't connected to anything yet. And we're going to take a look at where do I find the sequence keys. Well, if you go to your menu at text console, click on it, you're going to see that you have this little section called Select Key Set. By default, it's myspacekeys.keyset. That's already in there. You can also create your own so that you can take the file, move it around, or have it ready for doing whatever function it is. The next one you're going to find is Edit Sequence Keys. Because the default key is My Keys, we're going to come up with the basic template that is in there. And you'll notice that we have several things. One is the file location. This browse button is how we create or open new keyset files. Of course, the keystrokes, in this case, the first ones are the modified function keys, and then the built-in ones that are already there that invoke either an ability dialog or fire off a piece of information. Sequence keys aren't new. They've been around since Viewport, and there was a version of something like this back in Workshop. For those of you who don't know that, that was the very original DOS-based language that was used a long time ago. For those long in the tooth, you'll remember it. So this is the field, and these are some of the defaults. Now, some of these things you'll notice are things that are easily done by using the quick functions versus the keystrokes. However, you could assign them here. I generally use this, once again, to build my own process, so I spend most of my time up here in the modified Control F1 through the Control F12. Now you'll notice a few keys are missing in here. Control F4, that's a Windows preferred one. Control F9, once again, or Control F6, that's another one that's there. That's part of the Windows stuff. So those keys are excluded so you don't get yourself in trouble or cause a conflict. Down here towards the bottom, you'll see that there's help of what to enter, like things like non-typable things. This is where that serial validation comes in. Say you have a start a transmission, end a transmission. Those aren't typable. I can put them in here. So the utility of this is, once again, about being able to do repetitive tasks by using simplistic key forms instead of typing. Now, some of you are thinking, well, geez, John, you could always do tab and up arrow. That is absolutely correct. For the Toolbox console session you're in, that list is valid. However, the second you close the console, that list disappears. So this provides some permanence to that, so you don't have to do that first retype just to get them in there. So that's the basics of sequence keys. So let's run through just a super basic, how do I do something with it? All right, so I'm going to select Control F1. I'm going to come down here and enter the shortcut that I want to do. In this case, I'm going to do a very basic one. I'm going to do a VER-V for verbose, so we get the whole big thing. But don't forget, you have to type the string complete. Otherwise, you're going to be interacting and I'd have to hit enter. So I wanted to do that. So Control F1, when connected to a control processor, will give me the VER-V. So if that's something that I do every time I connect, some of us have habits like that. I tend to check firmware version first time I connect to something, so I know what my next function or my next act will be. These are the kind of things that I look at. So I'm going to go ahead and add a description. verbose ver, just for me to know it, and I'm going to click OK. So let's do a quick connection. So I'm going to hook up here to a CP4N. Sit here, wait for my green check in my prompt. Once I have that, I'm going to fire off the sequence key, Control F1, and we'll see the response. You'll also see that it echoes it in. So Control F1, and there's our VERV. So once again, I didn't have to type that whole thing. Now, granted, it's not a lot of keystrokes there, but when you have to do something over and over again, or have something a little more complex in structure, then these become really important to you. So I'm going to clear the screen, bring back up my prompt, and I'm just going to go through the process of showing you one of the sequence keys I set up, why I set it up, so that you can understand what they do. So the first example I'm going to do is I do some code in C#. Matter of fact, last master's class, we were doing a lot of work interacting with the Graph API. And I needed to do this in C#, and I wanted to attach the debugger, which there's a whole process of basically load the file, load the program, but don't start it, set up debugging, in other words, set the flags and the ports in that, attach with debugger, start the program, do my debugging. When I'm done, I needed to stop the program, detach, and then end debugging so that I go on and do my stuff and things would run. So what I did was I went and set up a sequence key called CS debug key set. And if we select that, that now becomes the default key set. And if we go in and take a look at what I did there, exactly what I described is a string that says, hey, program load, slot 1, don't start, with the carriage return. My debug program, right? With the port, what IPs are allowed to connect, and wait for the program to start. I would then go attach and then fire off the Control F3. I could have also done F10, which is already defaulted because I left things in there. So when I was done, I could stop the program and detach from debugger. So a basic sequence. I was in a development cycle. This was something I did. If I did it once, I probably did it 100 times. Because as we all know, when you're doing something new or something you haven't done before, there's all kinds of things you discover, little mistakes, parsing, that kind of stuff. So that was one use of it. Now, I also talked about using it as a serial debugger. So as a serial code validator, I may want to check out, hey, there's a number of strings, there's a protocol here, maybe it's got some of those unprintable characters, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to create a new key set to be able to do that. So to create a new key set, I'm going to go to Edit Sequence Keys, and you'll notice that it brought up my default one. If I go to Browse, it's going to take me to the default key set directory. I'm going to come in here and go basic 232, just for a name for it, and hit it, and there we go. I now have that as a key set. It's a file. I can recall it. I can come here to Control F1, and let's say that the protocol, all based on the document, has a start a string, and then has an end of transmission. So you'll see that I put in all the necessary keystrokes, including the untypable keys, so that I can send the string, validate the protocol after connectivity. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK to this. And now if I were to go and connect serially to a device and send the string, I should see a response. If not, I've got something wrong in my protocol, something wrong in my baud rate setting terminals. See what I mean? There's some utility there, but I also can now have a list set that lets me check each command. Now in this case, I have a super simple device already hooked up, and I already set up a key set for it. So I'm going to come over here to the key sets. I'm going to select that key set for that device. I'm going to come here to Edit Sequence Keys. You'll see that I have all of the commands in there for what they're supposed to do. And I want to check this thing for its baud rate and such. So I've got that loaded. I'm going to come here, and I've already set one up in my address book. So I use the address book for this so that I don't mess up other things. So I have a USB connectivity. I'm going to go ahead and add an entry. I'm going to call it serial. I'm going to select RS-232 because that's what I'm talking about. My adapter is COM3, and according to the documentation, it doesn't use any flow control, but it is 38, 4, 8, none, and 1. And the one thing I'm going to change down here is the auto detect. As we know, when we connect to something, it attempts to establish that. Now, that doesn't really change, but at some point, it expects to find something. So here, I'm going to go ahead and select generic console. Now, you notice when I drop this down, when you try this, you're going to get a warning box. I suppressed the warning. That's just me. I suggest you leave it on there to remind you, because it does say, hey, don't do this. If you do this, there are impacts. And in this case, this impact's going to be is that there is still that 30-second pause before I can actually fire something. And you've experienced this before. You've connected to something, it hasn't finished connecting, you hit the button, you get that warning, hey, I can't do this in 10,000, or sorry, 1,000 milliseconds. And that's the same thing here. It's going to want to establish everything, but I'm doing it as a generic console just because I want everything unfettered, and I'm going to say, okay. So you see I get it connected. Now I'm going to sit here and wait for a minute because the device, as I said, is going to go through that auto discovery part, and I just don't need the tombstone coming up. The other thing is I may want to see the actual string I send and what comes back. Now, when I'm connected to a device like this one just happens to not have a local echo, so I do want to make sure that what I sent was what I typed. So if I come into text console, come here to select style, and put normal with local echo, when I go to send the string, we will see it. So let's go ahead and fire off a string, and you'll see I sent the string properly formatted. I get a command OK, and I can still type. But you'll see that I get an incorrect command. So that's how you use this as part of debugging, or in my case, I like to validate. So any new piece that I get, this is how I validate that. And that's sequence keys. Now, I did mention that you can use sequence keys for repeated commands. A lot of times there are devices that you have to set, say, time zone, maybe change the SNTP server. You can use it for that, connecting to each one individually, fire off key, connect to the next one, fire off key, after doing all your initial login stuff. But there's another way to approach that, and I'll cover that in the next episode.